Welcome to Sprinkle with Hope podcast with your host, Jason. We are so excited to have our awesome guest with us today, Adam Hartshorn. Adam, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
It is so great. And I love your work. And so if you wouldn't mind just giving kind of a little bit of a background, who you are, kind of what you do, just a little bit about yourself so they can get to know you a little better.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Adam. I am a spoken word poet, and I'm also a singer-songwriter. And it's kind of a weird. I sort of live two lives because I'm also a physical therapy student right now. So I'm in school for that. Hopefully in April I'll graduate and I'll be a doctor of physical therapy, which will
Nice.
it's exciting. So I do that, and that's kind of my career. But then I have this alter ego poet, singer songwriter that I like to do. Yeah, so
How,
I'm always
how did
excited when I can
how did
perform.
you get into that, Adam? Did you just interested in poetry or?
It's kind of a funny story. So one day, I've written. Let's see. I grew up in a pretty musical family, and my mom would always have us. She'd have us singing together as a family. Like we would sing in church and stuff growing up, and just any kind of like whatever she could find, any kind of performances. We would like Christmas caroling, go to rest homes, you name it. When we would even practice as a family, she would be like, "All right, Sunday at 7 o'clock, like we're gonna we're gonna have like family singing practice,"
That's awesome.
um, which is it's fun. It's fond memories now. So I've always loved music. I've loved to sing, and then somewhere when I was at college, my first year or so, I had been kind of writing songs for fun for a while. And then I had a friend who she was like, "Hey, I'm going to the poetry slam this Friday or whatever." It was like the local poetry slam, which for people who don't know what a poetry slam is, it's just people get up and they say their own poetry out loud, and it's just kind of this event where it's judged. It's a competition, so there's judges in the audience, and it's a fun environment at least. But I had this thing in my mind that like everyone was gonna be wearing turtlenecks and like people are playing the bongos and stuff, like
Yes.
laughing after everybody. And I was just like, okay, that sounds fun, like a really weird experience, and I would love to go, if only to like make fun of it.
Right.
So that was my initial thought, and I decided to sign up, and I just used one of the lyrics for one of my songs as a poem. um, and it was kind of a funny song, and so I ended up winning like the humor section, and at that point I was hooked. um, it was so fun, and the thing that I really appreciated about it was that people were just like really open with what they were feeling.
Yeah.
And like I heard people talk about like all these like really deep issues, just in a very cavalier way, or they were very brave about it and just like spoke their feelings, and people were really supportive too. So it was a unique environment, very different than the internet.
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
So I'm guessing you didn't wear a turtleneck to that event
no,
or play
unfortunately.
your drums.
Although recently I did acquire a turtleneck, which I'm pretty scared to wear.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That
So
is awesome. Well,
Maybe for
why don't you start us off with a poem here, and we'd love to hear. So
perfect, yeah. So I'll do the poem I did at that first poetry slam. If
okay.
that's
awesome.
okay. It's called Theoretical Love. Uh, I know I'm socially inept, but it's because I spend all that time where the library books are kept. And you don't have to tell me that I smell bad, because I spend all that time in the chemistry lab. But I want you to know that even though I'm nerdy and my fingernails are dirty, that you don't have to worry, because in a couple of years, I'll be making bank, spending Benjamin Frank from my pocket for change. And if I was good with words, we wouldn't be here. We'd be sitting alone, and I'd be calling you dear. But I want you to know just how much I care. I'm gonna do my best, and you better be aware. My medulla oblongata, it belongs to you, because you're the only drum my heart ever beats to. I'm under cardiac arrest every time I see your face, and my respiratory system goes at a different pace. My fricatives, it's difficult to make them come out. My voice is like the hokey pokey, it gets shaken all about. I would donate my kidney if that's what I had to do. Girl, I want you to know that I think the world of you. Negative 9.8 meters per second squared is the rate I gravitate to you. Our love is unimpaired by the friction of force, and girl, our love is so deep that our terminal velocity will never be reached. The explanatory variable is clearly you. My p-value is so low, I'll tell you what I'll do. The null hypothesis we must reject, and the significant relationship we gotta accept.
Adam, that is awesome, man.
Thanks.
Well done. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you. That's an old one for sure, but it's fun.
That's the one that got you started.
Mhm. Yeah, that poem was it was pretty much everything I learned in my first year of college. Tried to put it all into a song.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty nerdy, but there's a lot of shout outs to like physics and stuff like that in there.
No, it's great. I love it. It's awesome. So what else do you got going on in your life right now? I mean, you just you just released a song actually today as we're recording.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah. So it's called Eve. Just released on Spotify and Apple Music and everywhere. So people can listen to that if they want to. It's a love song from Adam to Eve, and which is kind of it wasn't something that I had heard of somebody doing before, so I was kind of excited to share that.
That's really cool.
That is really cool. I'll have to check it out. So other than that, what else do you have going on? What are you most excited about in the near future?
That was something that I was pretty excited about, dropping that song. I have a music video coming out later for that song as well. I got a couple of my friends to do an interpretive dance to it, so we'll see. I'm pretty stoked. I think they did a really good job. I saw the choreography, and my brother is actually a filmmaker, and so he's gonna be filming it. So that'll be coming out in the next month or so.
Awesome.
And I have too many songs. I have this problem that I love to write songs, but I'm not as good at recording them. So I have an album I'm hoping to drop next year sometime, just depending on how quick I can get to recording it.
That's awesome.
My writing songs pace and my recording songs pace, the ratio is right.
Yeah, it's a little lopsided.
Yeah, I write too many songs. I'm gonna forget if I don't stop.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're in college right now, right? And so how is that going with everything that's going on right now? Are you how's that working out?
It's pretty good. It's kind of a tricky balance. So this is a grad program. It's a doctorate degree, but low key, it's not like I'll be a physician. But it's still like pretty requires a lot of time. So and then in physical therapy school, I'm done. Let's see, I did my bachelor's degree, and then there's 3 years of PT school. So I'm in my last year right now, and I'm just doing clinicals, which I'm going to different physical therapy places and just trying out what it's like to work at different jobs, basically, kind of getting experience in lots of different fields. So that's been pretty busy. I'm commuting up to Salt Lake. I live in Lehigh, so it's 30 plus minute commute every day, and then I'm working full time doing that. So I kind of got to fit my arts and crafts in where I can.
Yeah, of course. Got to do that, right?
Yeah. So I'll come home some days and just try to record or like write music or whatever, after work. Or a lot of times I wake up with songs in my head, just like, oh, this would be a cool song idea. So I have to, like, as I'm getting on the train or as I'm biking places, I'll just like have my voice memos that I just will record. So
that's awesome.
That's a weird balance.
You sound like a very busy person, so keep going at it. Live life, right?
Yeah, it's fun. I would rather be busy than bored.
Yeah. Yep. I
True
agree.
that.
Well, that was a really awesome poem. Do you have another one you want to share with us?
Sure. Yeah, totally. Um, I'll share this one. This one's sad because normally it's hard to explain. I don't want to give away the punchline,
Okay.
but it's not going to be the same this time. This one is about facial hair and mustaches.
Oh yeah.
This is a podcast, so I guess just imagine at the end.
Yes.
But okay, all right. This is called November, and yeah, this is, I guess, a little background for this one. It's probably one of the proudest moments of my life was when I performed this for the first time. I had gotten a lot of my friends to come to this poetry slam, and I was just really stoked about it. And everyone just went ape for some reason. I think just because they knew me, they're like, "Oh, Adam's performing," and they kind of liked my poetry. So just the whole, it was a small. There's probably like 50 people there, but everyone was just going wild at the end, and it I'll never be able to replicate it. I'll just always have that memory in my mind. So, but yeah, this poem's called November. It's about facial hair. Every time I'm dating a girl and I think that she's great and I'd give her the world, she pulls me aside with tears in her eyes and says to me, "Guy, I think that it's time. Because I have a question I must ask about your affection for mustaches. I think our opinions clash, and when I see it, I want to lash out irresponsibly, uncontrollably, tear it from your face. I think it's a disgrace, and I just don't see why you think shaving's such a waste." And as if that weren't enough, then she turns to me smugly and says, "I just don't get it. Do you like being ugly?" So I smile and say, very tactfully said, "You're right, though. You have a right to know why I keep this caterpillar on my head. Although the unibrow over my lips may be difficult to kiss, I will tell you this. It has usefulness. It's a soup strainer, and it filters my air. When I'm out in the wild, it scares away bears. It's the presence of passion carefully placed. It's the manifest destiny of a grown man's face. From the east to the west, it's the railroad connecting, reflecting the magnitude of his manliness. It's a fountain of freedom, freely flowing from the fiery furnace of my follicles. And it carefully chronicles the deliciousness of the desserts that I eat by catching the crumbs that might fall to my feet. It's more than that, though. It's a symbol to me, a reminder of who I want to be. Because when I was 12, I was a shy guy. I would stand in line, but I was hard to find. I wasn't on your mind. In fact, it felt like no one could see me. And sometimes I didn't even feel like I wanted to be me. And every day I'd walk with my eyes to my feet, staring at the street, march into another man's drum, another drummer's beat. And I don't know the exact time, and I can't say when or why, but somewhere in my life, I started to find that there was a voice deep inside that I didn't need to hide. And the shackles that I wore were forged out of fear. And the metal that made them came from right here because I had listened to the voices that shouted in my ear saying, "Retain your silence. You don't have anything good enough to say." I think we all know what it's like to have a voice, but not have anything to say, or even worse, have something you want to say so bad, but not have a voice to say it. And this mustache reminds me that I need to relay it. How glorious a possession is the power of expression, and only you can express what you hold in your chest. So that's what this mustache means to me. It's kind of important, and that's why I save it. But if you really don't like it, for you, girl, I'll shave it.
So cool.
It's awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Normally, I shave my mustache at the end of it,
Yeah.
which is kind of fun. I think that's why people were going crazy at the.
Oh yeah, because you go zing.
Yeah, and it's just insta shave, just.
Yeah. That's awesome. Very talented.
My
So-
favorite thing about that is I like to blow the whiskers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A little kiss and a wink, just
Yeah.
send it on its way.
That's awesome.
So how do people find your poetry? Where do you have it posted, or do they just follow you and that's how they get it, or?
Yeah, so they can do it. It's on Spotify. I released a little poetry album on Spotify and Apple Music, all the streaming services, and they're there. They're not my favorite versions because I think when you're just performing to a mic, it's not the best. I don't know. I think there's something to be said of having an audience and being
Yep.
able to see facial expressions. So my favorite way is to perform live, which
Okay.
people can have me come perform live at stuff.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah. Get a hold of Adam, right?
Yeah.
And do it.
So, but other than that, you can listen online. I also have some videos on YouTube. But yeah, adamhartshorn.com. You can ask to see if I'll come and perform at your event, which I'm
Yeah.
always happy to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I love that poem because I have seen you do that one another time where you
Uh-huh.
actually did shave your mustache and it was like epic.
It's just kind of a nice, I don't know, like poetry does get boring. I'll give it like I'll be the first one to say that. And having something physically happening, I think kind of adds to the experience.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's really cool.
That is really cool.
Glad you shared those two with me. That seriously is awesome. You know, I don't normally go and read poetry. In fact, I don't really read a lot of anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. The way that you've done it, just, you know, I get the privilege of watching you do it. And so that I think adds to what you're saying. Jason and I used to not do these recordings via Zoom. We would just do video or voice. And
Oh,
it
yeah.
makes a big difference when you can see and interact, you know, feed off of your energy and so forth. So
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's one of the, I mean, I think that's one of the big things that we miss when we're working all online with COVID type stuff going on. It's such a
Yeah.
rich way to communicate, to be able to physically be there
yeah,
and see all of what's happening.
Yeah.
Facial expression. But this is the next best thing, I think.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
it is.
For sure. So are you kind of gearing up? Do you have like some holiday music that you have out or that you're going to have coming up or?
I actually don't. So
Oh, okay.
almost every other artist that I've seen out there has been like releasing their Christmas music, their Christmas tunes. So Eve, the song that I released today, is kind of my version of that.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's not really a Christmas song, but it is. I thought it kind of was ish Christmas, winter-y.
Yeah.
So it's from the Bible. It's the Adam and Eve story, but it's kind of this and, and Christmas. I guess I think I just associated like Christmas, Jesus, and then the Bible. So it
Yeah.
just
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know why. It's also my vision of it was to have it be released in the winter because this idea of Adam and Eve being in the Garden of Eden, if you're familiar,
Right.
and then going to they had to leave the Garden of Eden as the story goes in the Bible, and so it kind of going from like a nice summery experience to what might be a termed a winter, or at least like a winter of the soul, like in the fallout of those experiences. So as I imagined it, I was like, winter seems right.
Yeah.
And you're
for
the
sure.
artist, so you can imagine it however you want, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
perfect.
that's the beauty of having, the creative mind, right? That you can create that thing in your mind before you even put it in paper or into actual physical music, right? And that's the beauty of creation.
Yeah. Do you guys are you artistic at all or anything like that?
Oh,
I mean, you guys have a podcast that's very creative.
yeah.
That's about as creative as we get.
Well, Adam, growing up when we would sing happy birthday, we would stop at happy birthday because like your family, we are not musically inclined. So we would just kind of stop.
That's awesome. Wait, are you two related?
Yeah,
We're
we're
brothers.
brothers.
Brothers. Okay, I didn't realize that. That's embarrassing. Sorry about
No,
that.
you're good.
I
No
see the
problem.
resemblance now.
Yeah. The
No.
hair or lack of.
Yeah, the hair. That's what got me.
That's why it was hard to say, right? Like whether we
Yeah.
were related or not.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
I love what you're doing, Adam. I think, your poetry, your music, even your physical therapy that you're going into, all of those things are helping people, right? I love that you're doing that. Jason and I have some questions that we have deemed the double down dose.
Ooh, okay. All right.
So we're going to ask these questions, and then if you want to send us off with a song, you can pick any song you want. But Jason will ask the first question, then I'll ask the second question.
So we always ask our guests these two questions. The first one that we start out is what is your definition of hope?
Okay. Ooh, I like this question. I should have watched the podcast ahead of time. To
No,
prepare.
you're good.
Yeah, my definition of hope is believing. I guess it might take me a second. I might have to just
No,
talk through it.
you're good.
That's okay.
I think believing that something good will happen, or that there is a potential for good. And I have to give for instance. I think you could have hope in anything. Like I'm really into physical therapy and helping people live healthy lives. So a big part of that is lifestyle choices that people make. And one thing they talk about in physical therapy is self-efficacy, like how much someone believes that my actions actually matter. And so if someone doesn't believe that the way they eat, or the way that they exercise, or even like the exercises that I'm giving them to do to help them rehab, if they don't believe that those things will help them to either rehabilitate or to live a healthier, happier life, then they're never going to do them.
Right.
And so I guess my definition of hope would be like this idea that I believe that my actions will make a difference. They'll have an impact on my life or someone else's life, which is
I
pretty
love
powerful.
that. Yeah.
No, that's great. We love asking these two questions because we often get 100% raw and unedited anything. That's what we love, is we want your real true thoughts and those type of things. So the second part of Double Down Dose is, how would you define love?
Ooh, dang. These are great questions, man. Man, oh man. I have to give another example just because I'm nerdy. Um, I heard a while ago this concept in psychology that really impacted me, that a lot of like counselors will do. And it's called, oh shoot, I forget the term, but the idea behind it is that, it's unconditional positive regard. That people who So a therapist, if you're working with someone, they're supposed to have unconditional positive regard for you. And I really love that. And basically what that means to me is like, regardless of what they say, regardless of what they say they've done, or like any number of things that you might hear that could be like, ooh, kind of, they might take you aback a little bit, that your therapist is going to have, they'll still have a positive affect towards you. They'll still like care about you. They still won't change the way that they behave towards you. And I really appreciate that in my own life. I've seen relationships where people don't really have an unconditional positive regard. And it makes you feel uncomfortable. It makes you feel like, oh, I need to change so that they'll like me or whatever. But I would say when I have seen people who are like, I don't care what you say, or like, I don't care if you just go off on this tangent, and I just am interested because you want to tell me, and or like because you have something to say. So yeah, it's kind of raw, lots of thoughts in there, but that idea of no matter what happens, I care about you. I think
Yeah.
that's how I would define love.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
That's awesome. The last question, it really sounds pretty simple, but we often get, wow, I've never been asked that question, because I think sometimes we don't think about what love really means to us. We feel it, or we see it or whatever, but we don't really actually take a minute and think, what does it really mean to us? So we love the raw that we get from that question. It seems simple, but we have really gotten some great insight from those two questions. So thank you for answering those.
No, thanks for asking.
So do you have a song you want to share with us?
Yeah, sure. If you guys are interested, this is, speaking of raw, so this is a song. This will be the first time it's performed, I think, for really. Yeah, this will be the first time I'm performing this live, actually, or
Awesome.
for people. So this is a song I wrote a little while ago. It is called Coeur d'Alene. Last summer I went to Coeur d'Alene in Idaho. It's just this beautiful, beautiful like
Oh,
lake, mountain,
it's
little.
amazing.
It's an incredible place. And so I wrote a song about it, and it's about a lady, which is pretty much what all my poetry and music is inspired by, relationships. So we'll see. And bear with me. This is, like I said, this is the first performance, so it might not
Yeah.
be totally tuned, polished off, but hope you like it. Can you guys hear the guitar? Fine?
Yeah.
Yep.
You say goodbye, wish it didn't have to be this way. Our hands are shaking, save your tears, it's such a lovely day. And I don't need them, babe. I wonder why we try so hard and every step's a marathon. Maybe you'll be happy when I'm gone. In Carter Lane, ooh, I'll meet you there someday. In Carter Lane, ooh, in Carter Lane. Why you weeping, girl? You know that you can't bring me down with every glance you take away from me. The greatest heights that I will ever reach. When did we decide to try to hide the feelings when we're crying? Why don't you just hold me and we can't pretend to be in Carter Lane? Ooh, I'll meet you there someday. In Carter Lane, ooh, in Carter Lane, Don't say it, don't say it, don't say goodbye, cause I know life will sweep you off your feet. Don't say goodbye, cause I know promises are hard to keep. Don't say goodbye, cause I'm afraid I may not see your face again. But then again, maybe we'll meet in Coeur d'Alene. I'll meet you there someday. In Coeur d'Alene, ooh, in Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene. In Coeur d'Alene.
And
Bravo.
awesome job.
Thank you.
You are a talented man, brother.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I've really enjoyed this, Adam. I love your work, and so I'm gonna keep following you and listen. I'm gonna listen to your new song. I haven't listened to it yet, but I kind of saw your little snippet that you had posted about it. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
definitely check it out. And so good luck. Best of wishes with everything that you got going on. Hopefully you can get all your school stuff figured out. And
Well, yeah, here's to hoping. So,
yeah.
And I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I've enjoyed talking, and thanks for asking those 2 questions too. That was insightful to be able to. Which is
Thank you so much for your time, Adam. You are a very talented man. Keep it up. Best wishes with your schooling and all that, and everything else. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you.